Four Knights of the Apocalypse chapter 117 is out, and I loved it. We got answers to what Percival is, while also leaving some questions. And honestly, the answers we got were really good. Now, before anything, let me just say this. I'm sorry my voice sounds kind of weird and groggy. Kind of had a bit of a cold in my last few days in Greece before coming back. And I'm recording this today after getting back from Greece, where a 4-hour layover turned into a nearly 7-hour layover before getting on an 8-hour flight back to New York. So, I'm a little tired, and I am a little bit sick, but I want to get this video out this week because this was a really good chapter, so I apologize if my voice doesn't sound the greatest today. But enough preamble, let's get right into the video. But first, before anything, only 26% of the people that actually watch my videos are subscribed to the channel, so if you haven't already subscribed and you watch my videos consistently, why not subscribe, like the videos, and hit the notification bell to be updated whenever I upload next time. This way I'll be able to do more videos, and you guys will be able to know whenever I upload, the moment I upload a new chapter review, discussion, or anything regarding anime and manga. So chapter 117 of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled Vaz Zigra, and I just like the cover image of just Zeldris and Gilda in front of the Demon King's palace, with a lot of other demons just staring out into the distance, just waiting for Percival to save the day. Which, spoiler alert, this does kind of happen, and how it happens is actually pretty nice, and also adds more lore to the world, and it also gives me some speculation of what the heck is going on for the larger verse of Seven Deadly Sins, Four Knights of the Apocalypse. So we start off where we did from last time, with Percival meeting the essence of what the behemoth is. This big blob thing as in a spiritual space, as it says that, help me, something is bad near me, and it's scared, and that he needs to take it out. Percival questioning that he's the light spirit, as his stand spirit says, yeah, the humans, demons, goddesses, giants, fairies. We are the font of energy that raises them all in every world out there. That includes you and I, as well as all the guys inside this behemoth. As we see Percival and his spirit energy staring this giant blob, as all these things keep expanding out, as they keep crying that they're scared and that they want help and that they hate it, they need to remove it. After all, in the last chapter we found out that the reason it's like this is apparently because of the portal to Camelot that appeared somewhere on its back. So that energy from that portal is causing it to freak out and be terrified, and if this thing and Percival were once part of the same life spirit being, it definitely thinks that the power of chaos is very, not exactly unnatural, but just has the potential to just throw everything into disarray. That's kind of what I'm getting here, why it's so terrified of it. We then hear the roar of the behemoth echoing throughout the demon realm as everything is shaking. We see the demons, Zeldris and Gilda, looking on as the behemoths just sheer miasma and just roars, causing areas to crumble apart, and the demon world feels like it's tearing apart. Zeldris says it ups to Percival, and that the fate of our world is resting on your shoulders. As we then cut back to the main group, as they're outside the Albion on the behemoth's back, as they feel and hear the call of the behemoth, as everyone reacts to the shaking and the large roar, which I like for the next couple of pages. It's nothing but the continuous roar of the behemoth as everyone's reacting to this roar and the shaking. The Chaos Knights are wondering if this is the behemoth that their demon prisoners spoke of, but they don't know where could a monster like that be, not knowing that they're actually on the behemoth's back. And Lancelot notices Percival spacing out and tries to knock some sense into him to get his senses back and ask what's wrong. Most likely because Percival isn't thinking, he's in a separate realm, and maybe Lancelot cannot read his mind, as everyone's trying to get Percival to come to. And as the roar continues, we begin to just slowly fade away farther out from the Albion to like the area where the Albion's on, until we finally see a full 2-page spread showcasing the full design of the behemoth. And it looks sick, man. It looks awesome. The behemoth continues to roar in pain and anguish, and the way Nakba took like 2 pages to just slowly fade out from the location we were at to see full on the sheer amount of size that the behemoth is, and how small and tiny everybody is in comparison to this monster primordial being, essentially. And while I would have loved there to be just some giant kaiju fight or something like that, with how this chapter ends, I do feel like it was necessary to see how this was dealt with the Behemoth, and I think it fits with Percival as a character. So we'll continue going onwards. Percival just acts all giddy and just like, sorry, I'm a spirit? Oh, come on, that's just silly, isn't it? I mean, no way. Listen, my name's Percival. I'm a person. My grandpa raised me on God's finger for the past 16 years. But Percival Sand Spirit says, no. You simply entered the mind of the being named Percival. As this shocks Percival, as the spirit goes on to explain that usually they're not like this. No shape or individuality. You were aware of this too, back when your human vessel was still a baby. But being raised with so much love implanted you with emotions a spirit would never normally have. Over time, you mistakenly thought of yourself as a human and lost your spirit memories. That is the truth. We are live spirits, all parts of a greater being. Now, before I continue, I just want to say this. This probably means that Percival as a baby either died and then the life spirit took over its body, maybe to fulfill the prophecy of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, or Percival was just a normal baby, but then part of this life spirit entered Percival's body as a vessel, and then as it was being raised as Percival with the love and care that Vargas gave it, its memories, like it was stated, just faded away, didn't know what it truly was, and just fully became Percival with all these spirit powers completely dormant until he left God's finger and awakened his magic power. And the fact that it says part of a greater being, and that these life spirits are part of something greater, either it's a part of chaos or a part of something else entirely separate from chaos, meaning that we're building up to a multitude of different primordial beings and deities for the universe of Seven Deadly Sins. Because for what we knew, chaos was the end-all be-all, the being that created the supreme deity, the god, the demon king, the great fairy tree, Lady of the Lake, and then created human beings, and then the world just went on from there. But if we take this as I'm interpreting it, there are a multitude of different deities and creatures from primordial time, from before the universe was even created, that just brought things about. And apparently the spirit, the life spirits, are what essentially bring up the beings from each of the different races and clans that we see in Seven Deadly Sins, what basically give them life. So that's just a big lore dump right there, but there's still some questions as to what this greater being is, and what more this life spirit wants, or their main purpose aside from just balancing life and death. It explains a bit more here also, but I'm just curious to see what this has to do with Percival, why it chose to possess Percival's body in the first place, and then became Percival outside of the love and care for it. Was it for the Four Knights prophecy? That's what I'm interpreting, but there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered. But back to the chapter, Percival is just trying to deal with the information that's been given to him, as he's just calling his spirit stand a liar, that whole story is ridiculous. He's a person, a human, the grandson of the Holy Knight Vargas. As, you know, Percival's kind of getting emotional over this, as he doesn't want to believe that his whole life, the person who he is alive. His spirit just says, this is why I never spoke to you before. I knew you wouldn't believe me. Which is, honestly, kind of explains why the Percival Golems, just didn't really, start developing personalities until much later in the series, as Percival was getting more accumulated to his powers, and why this didn't happen until Percival awakened his powers. It goes on to say that not until you heard about it from someone who knew, such as Ironside, this man who made you like this. Meaning that Ironside knew that Percival was not originally his son, or he knew that a life spirit possessed his son, and that's another reason why he wanted to kill him and said that, you're not my son. Maybe that's why Vargas took him away. Heck, there was a fan theory on the Reddit that apparently, maybe Yordra, Ironside's son in Camelot, is just a manifestation of his desires in Camelot, not his true son, just a being made to only exist in Camelot, and thus, if he leaves Camelot, he won't exist anymore. So, that's probably why Ironside wants to kill Percival so badly now outside of the prophecy, because he's a constant reminder that technically his original son no longer exists. Which is messed up, but also really cool to think about, if this is indeed true. But cutting back to the Behemoth spirit, as it keeps shouting out for help, as it's scared and it's terrified of this portal on the back of its back leading to Camelot. As Percival is like, what are all these guys afraid of? As well, the stand clarifies how they stated that is afraid of the portal to Camelot on its back, the one that everyone's searching for. As these things keep reaching out, asking for help. Percival is like, are you asking me to help? But I have no idea what I should be doing for them. As his powers just state, don't think so hard. Just do what feels right. And Percival just places his hand on the giant spirit mass as an explosion of energy just appears and engulfs Percival, asking for help and stating that they're scared. But Percival just says, calmly, don't be afraid, it's alright. Nothing scary is happening and it's not going to happen. We'll do something about this door, I promise, as the spirit's part of the behemoth is just echoing out and is just like, I'm scared, nothing's going to happen, as slowly the light dissipates and it calms down. As the behemoth's voice calmed down, with Percival realizing that his voice reached him, with us showcasing the full page, just this giant ball of energy with a sweet little smile on its face, just saying, I'm not scared anymore, thank you, I'm so glad. Good, I'm not scared anymore, and I'm sleepy, thank you. As the spirit just says to Percival that he gave them all hope. As he goes on to explain more about what the life spirits are. We life spirits use the hopes of others to spread life, but we also use their despair to spread death. But Percival says, well, I don't believe in anything you're saying. I'm still Percival, grandson of Vargas. As a little disappointed looking, his stand just looks over Percival and just says, well, alright, you'll see soon enough. You'll see why this being called Percival was born. As we still have a lot of answers as to why Percival was born, why this life spirit is inhabiting its body, as I stated earlier. And it also says that, it also explains why Percival had that despair power in the first place. The despair that Percival felt created despair powers. And that's why it sucked the life out of Chion's arm, essentially killing him, which, the Knight of Death, duality, I like that. Hope and despair, life and death. That is perfect. And I think Percival, as a relatively pure character, will also, understanding that things aren't super simple, is probably so far the perfect person to have this type of power at this moment, and I just cannot wait to see how this gets explained further on in the future. As the light dissipates, the roar of the behemoth begins to slowly fade away, as then the miasma slowly begins to fade away. As they begin to see the negative force of the behemoth is also vanishing. As the Knights of Black are like, what is this? As Schwartz just says, it's the power of Percival. As Mullen is like, so my brother-in-law was telling the truth. Once again, alluding to the fact that Ironside knows a lot more about Percival and his origins than any of us really realized. As everyone sees Percival as he's waking up, wondering if he's okay. But Percival just has a nice, wholesome smile on his face, just says, listen, it's alright now. The behemoth's asleep. With the final page just showcasing the behemoth asleep now, looking like it just melded into a giant mountain range now. Which just looks honestly really cool also. And yeah, that was the end of the chapter. Honestly, Four Knights of the Apocalypse continues to impress me and makes me incredibly happy to read it weekly and to cover this series with you. And once more showcase that there's a lot going into Four Knights, with the world building and the lore continuously being explored and expanded upon, which is something that I feel like Seven Deadly Sins wanted to do, but apparently was not able to, from what I could tell. I'm still doing a reread of the series, and I might find stuff that I haven't before, but either way, I just find this really interesting. What life spirits are, the duality of life and death that Percival as a life spirit embodies. Ironside potentially knowing more about why Percival was possessed in the first place. Maybe Percival died and the life spirit possessed him, and Yordra and Camelot is just an illusion created by Arthur to make Ironside happy, so he could still live out his life thinking that he's raising his son. And Percival basically not having his memories from a life spirit because Vargas gave him so much love and compassion as he raised him that he just fully believed himself to be Percival and just lost his powers and memories over time until they started to awaken again. Which is really cool to think about, and how it was executed, I think was done very well. Slow build up, and now we got a big chunk of the answer, but there's still more to come. Obviously, I feel like this ties into the whole Four Knights of the Apocalypse prophecy, but there might be something more, and the fact that the life spirits themselves are part of a greater being is also a question that still needs to be answered. But overall, this chapter was amazing. Those are my thoughts. Now let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the revelations and the actions taking place in this chapter. Your thoughts, opinions, your theories, let me know in the comments. I love talking to you guys and hearing you guys' thoughts on these chapters. It makes making these videos a lot more fun and interactive, so go ahead and do that. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and it encourages me even more to keep bringing up these Fortnite videos as often as I possibly can. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.